you, Harry the Hipster Gibson.
Miles Davis. Of course, we all know Miles Davis. Yeah, progressive jazz. Yeah.
Who's Harry the Hipster Gibson?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know Harry the Hipster.
No, that doesn't ring a bell at all.
No, I'm not into jazz like that.
Oh, Harry the Hipster, of course. I've known Harry for many years.
Harry the Hipster Gibson. You gotta know him. I don't, but
Do you?
you have to.
I don't know him. I don't know Harry the Hipster. Who's Harry the Hipster?
Harry the Hipster is a fellow who became very popular in the early 1940s, the World War II years, by playing boogie-woogie piano, which was quite the rage at that time, and by singing some very original songs that he wrote, novelty songs and boogie-woogie songs that people could dance to, and also things like 4F Ferdinand, the Frantic Freak, a topical song there during the war. And he sold a lot of records, appeared on the radio quite a bit, and was certainly one of the hippest people of that time.
It's always been a funny thing because Harry the Hipster, say, this is my grandfather, Harry the Hipster. You know, people say, what? Huh? What do you mean, who's that? And who is this guy and what's he all about?
Some people say, oh, here, this is Harry the Hipster's son, you know. They say, oh, my name's Jeff, by the way, yeah.
Harry the Hipster Gibson. He's also one of my favorites. Goes back a long time, although I have to say I never heard of him.
Right. Harry the Hipster Gibson is my grandfather.
Oh.
He played in the 1940s, and I'm doing a documentary about him,
Great.
finding his place in history.
They call him Handsome Harry the Hipster. He's the boy with all the chicks. He plays piano like mad and singing is sad. He digs those mellow kicks. They call him Handsome Harry the Clipster, 'cause he'll hype you for your gold. He's frantic and fanatic with jive, he's an addict. Well, I don't know, I was only told. And every night you'll find him round the club, playing and singing so wild. But when he wants to get straight with a solid stud, he comes out like a motherless child. They call him Handsome Harry the Drifter. He won't ever marry your sister. He got a shape and a shape, story is great. I'm talking about Harry the Hipster.
Harry's going to play In a Mist, and he's going to follow that up with Candlelight. Harry, do you want to take that right now?
What happened to Harry? I often wondered myself, because he got off the scene. I never never ran into anybody that knew where he was, or nobody said, I just saw Harry, told me to tell you hello, or he just disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. Then all of a sudden, the last time I heard him, there's a new record of his out, and that was after a few years afterwards.
He became a legend through stories, and from legends to legends. Yeah, they were all legends. They were legends themselves. It was fantastic, me being with them, but they all dug me. They dug me for what I was, the cat I was, the white guy playing all that black jazz and doing all that dancing and carrying on and screaming at the customers and whatnot.
We'll have some kicks, man. We'll have a ball. Well, great, Jack, I'll be there. Hey, who's that frantic chick you got stashed with you there? Well, look at here, solid forgot. That's my kid's sister. Yes, Careless Carrie the Clipster, They call her Careless Carrie the Clipster. She's the chick with all the tricks. She play piano like mad, and singing is sad. She digs those mellow kicks. They call her Careless Carrie the Clipster, 'cause she'll hype you for your gold. She's frantic and fanatic with jive, she's an addict, I don't know, I was only told. And every night you find her around the club, playing and singing so wild. But when she wants to get straight with a solid stud, she comes out like a motherless child. They call her Careless Carrie the Clipster. She'll never marry you, mister. She got a shape and a date, the story is great. I'm talking about Carrie the Clipster. She's the sister of Harry the Hipster. Yeah, that's right.
I learned how to play the piano. See, that's about the first thing you gotta know. Okay, I was a hyperkinetic kid, you know. Well, in those days, they didn't know what the fuck a hyperkinetic kid was. They just thought he was crazy. My father thought I was absolutely crazy. My grandmother knows, Grandma knows the shit is hitting the fan. She yells out, "Hey, it's all right, Margaret, I'll take him. Come on, Harry, come on, we go downstairs, we go play the piano, yeah?" She knows I love piano music. Loved it ever since I could remember it. So down we go, downstairs, boom, boom, boom. Grandma takes out a bottle of wine, and she says, "Here, Harry, L'Chaim, here we're going to have, it's going to cool you down and help your nerves." What was happening in school was that the piano rolls kept going around in my head, one after another. So the doctor says, "Oh yeah," he says, this will be happening to him all his life. He'll always hear music going through his head. He says that's what happens with the gifted ones.
Well, the first time I ever saw him play was when he used to play with his father. On Sundays, his father would play the violin, and he would accompany his father, and that would be sort of a Sunday ritual.
Florence and I went swimming in the water. She swam. We raced to the dock out there, and she beat me by a mile. You know, and she said, "Well, I can help you with your stroke," and showed me how to do her things. So she was talking in my ear, and I just turned around and kissed her. And we just held that kiss, and we both went bloop down.
Well, the dream was that I would be his helpmate, and he was going to be this famous musician. And I was going to help him do that.
At the time, I was studying at Juilliard School of Music in New York. Now, everybody knows the people in New York and Juilliard read music. Now, Eddie Condon's got a bunch of guys that play, but they don't read music. He says to me, "Can you play Bix Beiderbecke's Suite?" He said, "Would you play that suite for us in Carnegie Hall?" So I get the job. I open up the page and start the first Bix Beiderbecke, Candlelights. Well, Carnegie Hall is situated, and the acoustics are so great in Carnegie Hall that when I hit that piano, I thought I was playing 40 pianos.
And I liked the way he, rather than boogie-woogie piano, I liked playing straight standards and, you know, making very prettily and playing nice piano, pretty piano. Yeah, I like that.
Thank you, Harry.
How I became Harry the Hipster was like this. I'm working in the Deuces, playing intermission for Charlie Park Buried and Dizzy's band. And after I did the Carnegie Hall concert, I got a write-up in Downbeat. And he said the best thing in the whole program was Harry Gibson, the guy that went up and played Bix Beiderbecke solo. So, a music company called Musicraft saw the write-up, came down to the Deuces to listen to me, and I just, at that time of all things, Billie Holiday was late for her show. And Irving Alexander always stuck me on when she was late for her show to keep the people there. So he puts me on, and I go through my whole fucking thing, with the band backing me up, of course. Bird is blowing, everybody's blowing back me up. And I'm doing my Harry the Hipster, who put the Benzodine and Mrs. Murphy's Ovaltine and all the shit that I do, Handsome Harry the Hipster and all these tunes. The band, is backing me up. I'm doing the thing, and then all of a sudden I'm running out of gas. I see Billie walking in the front door. She waves and smiles to me, I said, oh, great. And I go out with Barrelhouse Boogie, one of my own boogie woogie tours. Tore the fucking joint apart. So when I go upstairs, I'm up in the dressing room with Ruthie. Here comes these two guys, square guys, marching up. The next day, I went up to Sid Catlett and John Simmons. And I said, hey, you guys doing anything tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock? He said, no, we ain't doing it. You want to make a record date with me? I said, I'll bring lots of dope so you don't have to worry about nothing, which I did. Cocaine, heroin, everything. I brought everything there, everything you could take to do that job. And we played one tune after another, straight 1, 2, 8 songs, and not a clinker in them. Right straight out. 8 takes, 8 songs. Perfect.
Mrs. Murphy couldn't sleep. Her nerves were slightly off the beat until she solved her problem with a can of Ovaltine. She drank a cupful most every night, and ooh, how she would dream until something rough got in the stuff and made her neighbors scream. Ow! Who put the Benzedrine in Mrs. Murphy's Ovaltine? She was ashamed, don't know who's to blame, 'cause the old lady didn't even...
I think I probably played Harry's record of Who Put the Benzedrine on one of my very first shows. I don't have the playlist from the real early ones, so I know it quickly became one of the most popular recordings that I had on the show, and that's why I put it on my first album, Dr. Demento's Delights. So, and on and off since then.
They call the album Boogie Woogie and Blue. Nobody ever thought anything was going to happen to it. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, the Boogie Woogie and Blue is playing on all the radio programs. You walk down Broadway, it's coming out of the music stores. You sit in your car, it's coming out of the radio station. And overnight, I'm a fucking star.
Hey, you know, there's a lot of talk going around about this hip and hip jive. Lots of people are going around saying hip. A lot of squares are coming on with hip. Well, the hipster is here to inform you what the jive is all about. The jive is hip, don't say hip, that's slip of the lip. Let me give you a tip, don't you ever say hip, it ain't hip. No, it ain't! It ain't hip to be loud and wrong, just because you feeling strong. You try too hard to make a hit, and every time do you tip your mitt. It ain't hip to blow your top, the only thing say is mop, mop, mop. Keep cool, fool, like a fish in a pool. That's go rule of the hipster school, when you find yourself talking too much. Then you know you're off the track. Look out now, that's the stuff you got to watch. Everybody wants to get in the act, it ain't hip to think you're in there. Just cause who they suit you wear. You can laugh and shout, but you better watch out. You really don't know what it's all about, man.
He was very famous when he became Harry the Hipster.
Things like looking up in the sky and seeing Harry the Hipster appearing at Billy Berg's when I was very small. It was like my father was an astronaut.
For a long time, I thought I was the luckiest person in the world to have Harry be the father of my children, because he was such a playmate to them, and they worshipped him so much like a hero, and enjoyed him so much when he did come. But I thought, boy, nobody else has a father like this.
When I was a child, I knew him as a hero, you know, because he was only around once in a while, and so it was a big thing when he was there.
Name my children. Let me see, there's Lena, then came Willie, then came Jeff, and then came Lorraine.
Jimmy, exactly like Harry. He's a little crazy, he's very flippant, he's very hyper, and he likes to swing. He plays electric bass.
He was more or less of a buddy, actually, because I only knew him when I grew up and we were hanging out and on the road and stuff. I mean, father, that's kind of a word I don't know, you know. You just didn't call him. He would freak out if you said Daddy, Papa.
I was the kind of father that I never wanted to be called Daddy, Dada, or Papa. I didn't want to be called that. I wanted to be called Harry the Hipster. I wanted them to call me Harry because I was a show guy, and I still got Ruthie too, don't forget, in the bargain. I still got chicks. I was working $1 Million Theater downtown in L.A. Mae West came backstage with J.J. Shubert and said, "Next to me, you're the greatest entertainer in the world." I came around to her apartment the next day. She had a place full of mirrors, a white house, a white piano. We screwed all over the place.
Faithful, ever.
One time ever.
No, I don't think he ever was.
Never.
I really don't think he was.
When I was a little girl, he loved my mother. He adored her. He would say, "Look at her. Isn't she beautiful? Doesn't she have a face of an angel?"
I was in love with Florence, yeah. Absolutely. Here's the thing. Before Florence, I was going with strictly hookers. I was living with 4 hookers. I was going with hookers. I never went out with a straight. I didn't even knew a straight chick at all.
I think he treated me differently in matters of like respecting me more, or like, I believe anyhow that he felt that I was his roots, as he often told me.
You know, one thing about Harry, I don't think he did hang out a lot afterwards. I mean, when he was through the job, he would go home. So he wasn't and I'd go to the other clubs or maybe some of the after-hour joints, and he didn't do that too often. So he was, maybe that's maybe the solitude that he had, you know, or the softer side.
And he always told me, you know, he found me under the piano, and he said, "Lena, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing under there?" And I said, "Making music," and I was pushing the golden pedals. As he saw me there, you know, he must have been very touched, and I was crying, and he says, took my face in his hands, his musician's hands, and he said, "Don't you know, Lena, that when you grow up you can invent yourself?"
He's a very spiritual man. We once went on a walk with his dog, and he told me about his spiritual side, and he was very quiet and almost withdrawn, and he didn't talk a lot and make me want to laugh or anything like that. He was just very serious and profound, and he wanted to find peace in himself, because all his life he really wanted to be at peace. And that's, again, another thing that he wanted to give to people, was a feeling of peace through laughter.
In the draft, yeah, that's right. The boy F. was a fighting fool, but he fought with only girls in the grammar school. The only 1A class he ever made was the one in the very first grade. And in this grade he always stayed. From the very first grade he never strayed. He liked it, yes. Got along with the teacher and everything, you know. He got epileptic fits, a very bad rash. Now he's 4F Ferdinand. In the draft they made him change his grade to 4. Now Now he's in one, ain't no more. But he's married to the teacher and they're doing great. Cause he's 4F and she's 88. Yeah, she plays the piano too. Some boogie woogie every once in a while. They got 2 kids and they're sure a mess. Now he's the father of 2 4F, so if they ever had to change his class, well man, they'll put him 8F in the draft. I hear he's living down the village on Greenwich Street. 4F Ferdinand, the frantic freak. 4F Ferdinand, the frantic freak. He's doing all right, well all right.
There were piano battles. And he played, you know, and everybody liked him playing, say, after Art Tatum or Fats Waller or whatever, you know, and he would be so excited. And those were really exciting times.
Oh, Tatum, yeah. One day he asked me, hey, how about letting me drive, man? He's blind. Couldn't see a fucking thing. He said, well, I got to learn sometime. So I said, okay, let's make a little signals. I give you 1 poke, you turn to the right. 2 pokes, you turn to the left. He was very good, and we had been doing this for months. And one day, some of the other guys in the band said, hey, drive us up to Mittens, will you? So they get in the car, Bird and all the guys, all sitting in the back of the car with their horns and all this shit. And we're driving up, and all of a sudden, when we turn right on 52nd Street, Tatum says to me, let me drive, man. Oh, yeah. Boom, I jump out. He jumps back in behind the wheel. And nobody never even knew what happened. Nobody knew there was a change. All of a sudden, Tatum takes off. Wham! Down the road. Fucking car's going 90 miles an hour. All of a sudden, the guy's in the back. What the fuck's going on, man? What's doing? Tatum saying, I can see. It's all coming back. Hey, man, this is great. I've got my sight back. And the guy's in the back. Oh shit, you guys are going crazy.
You gotta go out in the sun to get your body brown. But gosh, ain't I the lucky one, 'cause I stay brown. Are you right?
Yeah, I know. I played black piano and I sang black.
But that don't
You couldn't tell whether Harry was black or white, really, when he was on the stage, because he was typical of that era of a hip musician.
When he was on the radio, people were writing in and asking if he was white or black.
Billy and I are working down in Florida. By the time she gets down there, she's sick as hell, and there ain't no dope in Florida. I said, I got some codeines and shit in my car, and marijuana and all that you can have. We're in there smoking grass, sweating the same, and bam, bam, on the top, whack, whack. And the guy opens the door, and he says, hey boy, what are you doing with that nigger in there? Well, I said, this is Billie Holiday. I'm Harry Hipster. We're playing in this club over here next door. People are waiting on outside, a big crowd. Here we are coming in with the cops. And the people saying, what are you getting busted, Hipster? I said, no, this is just an act. I want to go, just stay stoned at home. Yeah, stay stoned. Why do you take drugs? Yeah. It's a hard thing to figure. Once you take the dope, you have the strongest feeling, the greatest feeling of control. You are in control of every fucking move you make. Every little thing you do is controlled. I mean, and it's so groovy, and it feels so great. At the beginning, that there's no end to it. You could just keep going, playing, making up songs. I played better, I sang better, I danced better, I screwed better, I did everything better.
Harry was one of the very first people to mention drugs, at least the kind of drugs that people take to get high on, so to speak. Songs like Who Put the Benzodrine in Mrs. Murphy's Ovaltine.
Who put the Nembutal's in Mr. Murphy's overalls? Look out, man! Hey, stop that dancing up there! Boolity-bop, boolity-bop. I'm Harry the Wolf Gibson. Look out. Gather round all you hipsters. Dig what I'm putting down. Cause I'm hip in a few days.
Stop that dancing up there.
Man, by the time we get it down, it'll be legal and it won't be no good.
Do I consider Harry a musician or an entertainer? Frankly, I think that he's both.
What they called him then was the entertainer's entertainer and the musician's musician.
I consider myself a musician. I was a musician first. I became an entertainer. I learned a lot of it from Fat Swallow and other entertainers.
Well, Harry played boogie woogie with the very best of them, maybe the fastest technician of all the boogie players.
He would up the tempo so much, just being excited from the job, that usually when we played boogie woogies, they'd be really, really fast, and I'd just have to really concentrate to keep that beats there. And in between that and Harry's clowning around, sometimes it was really hard to concentrate, you know. I mean, he would be playing and doing all kinds of great things on the piano, but he'd be doing goofy stuff too, and if you watched him, it would just, you know, I used to laugh my head off.
Oh, he is funny. He did the tunes like, "Stop that dancing up there," you know, or "Who put the Benzodrine in Mrs. Murphy's Ovaltine," you know, and things like that, and he'd go from one tune to another, and he was happy. It was a happy music, and he could play beautiful piano when he wanted to, but he was a swinger. He was a really hipster. When I say hipster, he was really a bopper, you know. He knew all the lingo, and he knew all the mannerisms, and he knew all the slang, and he used it. There's a lot that he coined, you know, and he was just a lot of fun. He kept me in stitches of that. I was laughing as much as the people when I played with him.
Let's smoke up the joint so a man can breathe. Hey, Caledonia, what make your hard head so big, huh?
I'm famous for singing wild jazz tunes and being a showman at the piano and really tearing up a joint. I was practically the first guy to ever do that shit. After that came rock and roll, and those guys pulled all that shit. But nobody ever did that before me. Everybody sat there and played their thing and did their thing. Very nice, you know, nice. And everybody acted like a gentleman until I got into it.
Caledonia, what made you think it's so hard?
For one reason, they don't know my name musically because my entertainment was so wild that I overshadowed my piano playing.
Perhaps because he did a lot of novelty songs, people have thought for some reason that he was not as deep for some reason and perhaps not as worthy of scholarly study, but I don't agree with that.
And in my way of thinking, Harry's a legend. Harry is really a legend because he was a stylized person, and there's nobody else like him.
One of the reasons why I think Harry really isn't a legend that automatically comes to mind would be due, I think, to the notoriety aspect that's attached to his name.
He wanted ego. He chose showbiz. So as a jazz musician per se, that wasn't his goal, and so he didn't really pursue.
He couldn't invent anything. He couldn't bring anything that new to what he was doing. But what he could bring that was new, he's the father of performance art, pop art, speaking out on very controversial issues.
At one time in the mid-40s, they banned Harry's records on the air. They wouldn't play Harry's records, they wouldn't play Slim Gaillard, and the reason was that they thought it was a bad influence on youth, and they didn't want the morals of the nation's youth to be corrupted.
What happened to Harry's career happened to every other jazz artist that has ever lived. Rock and roll took over.
I mean, nobody wanted to hear any jazz anymore. They just wanted to hear rock and roll. They didn't even want to know us. I couldn't even get a fucking job in Miami. I took a job as a taxi cab driver. I took a job as a piano player in a choir. These kind of things. These, you know, they're all dopey things.
When you were born, about then, that time, I got a letter that he was coming back. He decided rock and roll was definitely way up there with the Beatles, but he was going to come back.
I made other albums, I made other records. They sold here and there.
We actually wrote some very good songs together. We had Captain Percussion and his plastic-colored people and the Rhythm Machine, and Harry played such good boogie. We had Dig and Thou Shalt Be Dug. And the people in the studios, they were going out of their minds. This will be a hit, this will be a hit. Well, I took those things into, I don't remember which studio I took them, but I took them in and I played them for the man. And this man said, "Is that Harry the Hipster?" And I said, "Yes." And he looked at me and he says, "He will never come back, never." And I've always wanted to prove him wrong. That's why I'm sitting here.
Rocks a boogie woogie on the 88. It's a barrel house boogie on a rockin' trip. He bends a boogie woogie with a barrel house kid. Hey, what's the name, mister? They call him Harry the Hipster. Yeah! Hey, Harry the Hipster. Handsome Harry the Hipster. No regrets. I'm a fatalist. Whatever came, whatever happened, happened. I got about everything I wanted out of life, yeah. I did about everything there is to be done, you know, especially show business. And I did like show business. I'm not too crazy about being in crowds anymore. I don't like crowds. I like this. I like to be here all by myself with my dogs and my music and my playing, and I will write and play until the time comes for me to leave this planet, as they say. Hey, thanks for the use of the hall. I dig you cats, one and all, and you folks near me who came around to hear me. Hope y'all had a ball. Yeah. I'm only gonna be here for one more minute. After that, I gotta leave the stand. So thanks for the hand from the hipster. Man, I think you folks are really grand, but that ain't all. Thanks for the use. I say thanks for the use. Thanks for the use of the hall.
Hey, Gibson, you forgot to play the ending, man. Play that Paramount ending. That's what I'm talking about.